Hello, this is the Roland SK-500 sound canvas keyboard, and what an amazing artifact this is from the 90s. You can tell by the styling and the colouring that it's very much of its time. But in a way it was the best of its time too, because the SK-500 was the leading sound canvas module. General MIDI 2 was still a pretty new idea at the time. Roland released it in keyboard format, so what we basically have is just a straight up synthesizer. No special fancy tricks or anything like that, just a whole lot of really good sounds. So for someone who is a person who just sets up their synth and says, yep, that's what I do, I just play the synthesizer, this is a brilliant machine in its simplicity and versatility, because the sounds really are so good. Anything to do with sequencing or other forms of control, the idea was that all of that is left to a computer or other external equipment. It's just a sound module with 49 keys on it. Simple as that. Let's have a listen to some sounds. Starts with our basic piano, of course. Holding down the shift button and pressing the variation key here will show us that within sound number 1 there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 variations on the piano sound alone, and that's just piano sound number 1. I believe when you add it all up there are well over 1,000 sounds in the SK-500. The main instrument categories are cycled through just by pressing plus and minus. And we have our general MIDI guide up here, but that is of course very much just a guide. Within Synth lead, for example, we've got 81 to 88, but 81, 82, 83, 84 and so on each will have many varieties of synth lead inside them, using this variation key set up here. So if I jump through some of the sounds on the way up to those synth leads that I really want to hear, we'll hear a whole lot of our old favourites. And synth leads. And there you can hear the pitch bend and modulation wheels working perfectly there. The modulation wheel also serves as a data entry controller as well, controlling values 0 through to 128 as you move it. So we'll try some variations. Now it's a bit low, so if we pan around to the left here, you'll see we've got octave control function as well. So just press shift and go up an octave, or even 2 if you like. Can we go 3? Yes. 4? 4 octaves up. Let's go to about 2. Then hopefully I can play reasonably central notes here and still allow you to see some of the controls. So in sound number 81, I've taken you through 7 or 8 variations there, and it just goes on and on and on. So many variations on the one sound. Okay, so that was about 22 synth lead sounds based on the first synth lead sound in the GM set. So I got to 82, and once again, still more sounds. Let's listen to some pads. of course, bass sounds. Lots of realistic ones, lots of great synth bass as well. And again, the bass sounds just keep on coming. We've listened to heaps there, and I've still got more variations within this one particular sound. Nice. Of course, anybody who wants an instrument like this is either working in the studio or just wants to get up on the stage and play, so organ would be an obvious one because you're probably a more advanced keyboard player than me, and those are the kinds of sounds that you might gravitate to. So let's go to 17. 17. And again, we're only looking at variations within one sound. Lots and lots of organs to choose from. Bad note at the end there, but you get the idea of the quality. So really, what else is there to say about the SK-500? Well, it's an extremely comprehensive instrument, but it's not a complicated one to demonstrate to you. I guess the last thing to do really is to have a look around the back. Straight away on the back, you'll notice the 90s styling of this one. The round edges, the teal color and the white top. Doesn't matter though, it's still giving us lots of good sounds. But of course we've got USB. This is the dawn of USB in music here, guys. So here we have a wonderful palette of sounds, all available to be sequenced through USB from your computer. Note also that we got the mini DIN socket here. This was used for some other devices such as the Roland PMA5, another brilliant thing that I've reviewed on GearFacts a couple of times. The switch there enables it to talk through this smaller format to PCs or Macs. Over here, standard MIDI out, which for me is always my favorite way to communicate. I don't know why, that's just the way I like it. This is interesting over here, 2 separate sockets for headphones. I can't really fathom why they would have set it up that way, but it's a nice, useful thing to have. It's the kind of thing that when you do use it, you're really glad that you have it. I guess it could be good in a monitoring situation where the keyboardist wants to hear themselves, but still wants to put the signal out to a PA system. An audio input there, and yet another 3.5mm audio output, sustain pedal socket, and of course our power system at the end. So as far as I'm aware, these are very rare these days, these SK-500 keyboards. I'm sure there's still plenty of utility for them though in the modern era, even though some of the sounds are a bit dated. There are plenty of keyboardists who just want a super light instrument that can fit into a bag or just a narrow sleeve, and you can take it to a gig and you can play for real and have a great selection of sounds at your fingertips. Thanks for liking, commenting or subscribing, guys. As always, I'm very interested to hear your comments about the SK-500 or any other of the devices that I've reviewed on GearFacts. Hope you found this video useful, interesting or informative, and I look forward to seeing you next time on GearFacts.